Old Spice Classic. It could be a Final Four preview. You hate to say that in November, but these two teams are that good. What are you looking for in the first half, Hubert?
Well, you're looking for Gonzaga. I think there's two things they need to do in terms of winning the basketball game. Number one, they need to take care of the basketball. So when you look at Jeremy Pargo, Matt Bolton, Dimitri Goodson, these guys are going to have to do a good job of not turning the ball over. And you look at Tennessee in this tournament, they have made teams turn over the ball 19 times a game. Number two is they've got to win the power forward position. They've got some big guys, Austin Day and Josh Heifeld. They're going to be going up against Tyler Smith, who's only 6'6", 6'7". Don't bail him out by shooting jump shots. Throw the ball down low in the post. Heifeld had 22 and 9 against a smaller Miami.
Jay, Will, give me 10 seconds. What do you got?
Well, I love the fact that you have 3 seniors, 1 junior, 1 sophomore for Gonzaga. Gives them the edge. And Tennessee, I question their point guard play. Bobby Mays, a transfer from Oklahoma. Will he be able to sustain Jeremy Pargo?
All right, what's coming up next should be a dandy of a game. We'll be back at the half to break it all down. It's Gonzaga and Tennessee, Old Spice Classic.
Welcome back to College Basketball Scoreboard, presented by Pizza Hut by Lowe's.
It's been a great week at Disney, and tonight our final night of the Old Spice Classic, the championship game. One of the top players in the SEC, Tyler Smith, leads the Vols against Josh Heifeld and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Heifeld coming off a great performance against Maryland. The Vols and Zags playing for the championship. It's the Old Spice Classic championship game next. Down here on the final night from Disney, and what a week it's been. All the teams have enjoyed their stay along with Mickey. And inside the Milk House, time for the Old Spice Classic Championship game. All part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Number 12 Tennessee taking on number 10 Gonzaga. Let's take a look at our brackets. Here's how we got here. Georgetown had an 8-point lead with 10 minutes to go in the second half. Tennessee went on an amazing run. They are here matching up with Gonzaga, who put it on Maryland in the other semifinal. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us here. John Shambi alongside Len Elmore and Fran Fraschilla. Andy Katz will join us coming up. All right, we begin with this, Coach Fran. What's at stake with this matchup?
I think for Mark Few, it's to find out, is his team really a national championship contender? Because Bruce Pearl's team, Len, is very deep, and they are junkyard dogs.
Well, for Tennessee, it's a question of whether or not they're for real. Can they contend with the size of Gonzaga? Now, this is just the appetizer because we know they meet again in January.
Star Watch time now, and Bruce Pearl, you know, is thrilled to death Tyler Smith didn't leave for the NBA.
Now, speaking of junkyard dogs, Tyler Smith is the heart and soul of this Vol team.
Well, Josh Heifeld, 6'11", a leading.
And our starting lineups for this one. Tennessee will send Bobby Mays and Cameron Tatum out there in the backcourt, Woolridge, Smith, and Chisholm up front. And for tonight's broadcast, available in sparkling high definition on ESPN2 HD inside the Milk House. As we get ready for our championship game, we've had great crowds all week long, and it has been a lot of fun, and I mean some great NCAA tournament type atmosphere so far.
But when you come out of a tournament like this, Len, you really find out about your team's strengths and weaknesses in the early season.
Well, that's true, and then the other side of it is the depth that you have as far as the types of teams. You know, this has March implications, no question about it, from top to bottom.
Heifeld wins the tip, back to Downs, who sends it over to Pargo. Zags have the basketball, and we're underway. Last year, these teams got together in Seattle and Tennessee with a commanding 82-72 win out there at Key Arena.
And you remember how many deflections Tennessee had in that game.
Austin Day gets it started. A big three for the lanky sophomore.
And you got a 6'11" guy able to step outside and shoot the three without contest because the wing guys for Tennessee are significantly smaller.
A lot of depth on both sides. Bruce Pearl and Mark Few will not be shy about the substitutions.
Both teams like to play man-to-man. That's their primary defense.
The thing you like about Gonzaga this year is they got 5 guys on the floor right now that can all score.
Holden buries a shot. He was the team's leading scorer last year.
The other thing I like about this team, Lenny, is that Bolden is really a second point guard for them.
Yeah, he's a skilled player, knows how to make plays, and certainly he's able to create for himself.
Tennessee with a little bit more length this season for Bruce Pearl. Get a look at the freshman Scotty Hobson coming up.
But Bruce Pearl wouldn't be Bruce Pearl without a complaint. He knows they have length. He's worried about their quickness, particularly laterally.
Tyler Smith off the mark and Pargo the other way.
But I tell you what, in the 2 games that they played, they really didn't show any deficit from the quickness side.
The shot selection obviously has to improve. And by the way, guys, the way Mark Few relaxed this afternoon was going for an hour-long bike ride in the...
We had a 42-minute rain delay for game 2 because it was raining so hard the building was leaking a little bit. The game between Michigan State and Wichita State. Mays the other way, had it blocked out of bounds here at Tennessee and going for career win number 400. You saw third highest active winning percentage. Mark Few is number 2.
Right now, Tennessee's already got 3 deflections on the defensive end. When coaches talk about deflections, you don't necessarily need to steal it. It's a matter of just disrupting somebody's offense.
Just like that.
Yep.
Yeah, nice job, Wayne Chisholm, stepping out on Austin Day, getting into the passing lane. And when you can move the other guy's offense, the start of their offense, further and further out, you've accomplished something defensively.
Lenny, in New York, did you play for Pitino?
No, Rick was the assistant coach. I played for Hubie Brown.
Why were deflections so important to those guys?
For the very reason that you dissuade the passer from throwing it to your side. You deflect them enough, and it makes it difficult for passers to decide if they're going to kick it to your side or not.
There's another one.
Let's check out a comparison of these 2 programs, and that's what the start of the year looks like so far, but a lot of success both sides.
And Bruce Pearl has come to Knoxville with an energy level that is unparalleled. They play every possession like their life depends on it.
J.P. Prince into the game but misses the shot. Day the board.
Well, against this size of Gonzaga, J.P. Prince and company, they're going to have to go to the basket strong. That time he kind of lollipopped it up, maybe trying to avoid the shot block, and missed it. And see, Fran, that was a good example. The last time they tried to go to the wing, it got deflected, created a loose ball situation, which is another reason for deflections. This time, Bolden, instead of going to the wing, he decides he's going to dribble it over there and winds up turning it over.
The previous foul was on Austin Day.
Can they defend? Can they defend the dribble?
So far in this tournament, they've done a pretty good job in that department. This is Bobby Mays handling. And Scotty Hobson has checked in for Tennessee as well. There's Tyler Smith aggressively to the rim.
Just like they need to against the size of Gonzaga, you've got to force the issue.
I've always felt when you play an aggressive team, you take it at them, and that was a good example right there.
Ira Brown in for the Zags. He has the ball, giving off to Bolden. And now Pargo, who early on in the season's been looking to get his teammates involved and less for his own shot. Good feed to Bolden, down low, can't finish. And a turnover. It's been a little sloppy so far both ways.
Out of the lane, you see Tyler Smith able to get all the way to the hole. There's no rotation over it, as Micah Downs allows him to drive to the middle.
Well, Tyler Smith in 2 tournament games, averaging about 17 points a game, shooting 50%, 11 for 22. And you see the reason why. He's not taking a play off.
Brown back out to Pargo, who set it up.
That's good defense right there.
Gray is an excellent shooter and drains that one.
Right on cue.
He had struggled coming in, John. We know how good he is. He knocked down 7 against Davidson in the tournament, but only 3 for 18.
Answering on the other end is Hobson. Scotty Hobson. Hard as it is to believe, he's the first McDonald's All-American recruited by Bruce Pearl. Early on, three-point shooting is the rule. 9-8 Zags. It's the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Our championship game, Gonzaga by a point. One of the reasons why people like Gonzaga this year, a healthy Josh
season. Plus, he's a pretty good low post player. He's the kind of guy that can get you that need basket. Right now, he really hasn't been involved in the offense, and a lot of that has to do with Tennessee's pressure on the wings, making it difficult to not only receive, but to make entry passes. You take a look at Brian Williams down there trying to use that big body.
I've always felt the first post defender is the man guarding the ball on the perimeter.
Feed down to Ira Brown, and a wrestle for the ball. And Heitfeld able to save. Backcourt violation, no. And with more on Josh Heitfeld, here's Andy.
That's his role, to make sure he calms everyone down and shows leadership on the court.
Feeds to Williams and the flush.
That's the difference between the two teams right now. Gonzaga really doesn't pressure up on the basketball like they need to, and it becomes a very easy look over the top.
Big Brian Williams really kind of having a coming out party in this tournament, not necessarily scoring, but throwing his weight around. At one point, that young man weighed 347 pounds. He's down to about 260 right now, and you can see the increase his mobility.
Yeah, he's light on his feet.
Brown steps in, gets a deflection, but Tab gets it back, and now
we mentioned Brown is a throwback to the old school Zags before they went national.
Brown comes away with it, and now Pargo, they're 2-on-3. Pargo to the goal and finishes. 6'2", 220, and a physical point guard.
Well, you can say that about most of the guys out on the floor there, that not only are they big, but they're thick as well. They take up a lot of room, and that width pays dividends to them, going to the basket as well as rebounding.
Take a look at this, guys. Here's where we're talking pressure, really, and that allows the ball to get over the top of Heitfeld. If you're Stephen Gray, you got to get out on Prince, and you got to become the first post defender and help your low post teammate out.
And when you throw a lob like that, it's got to be pinpoint. They threw it to the corner of the backboard, which gives the receiver a lot of room to work. If you're getting a guy in your face, it's hard to see that.
That last foul was on Brian Williams, his first. Gray, another triple. That one's off the mark. Robert Sacre is checked in, the 7-footer from Canada for the Zags. Tuesday night, a doubleheader on ESPN, 7 Eastern, Ohio State and Miami, 9 Eastern, Duke and Purdue. The ACC Big Ten Challenge, ESPN on Tuesday. Fran, you and I will be in Champaign for Clemson and Illinois.
Clemson already off to a very good start. Trevor Booker inside. Terrence Oglesby, the deep shooter.
Williams spinning baseline. Prince the board. And the feed to Williams. Couldn't get the finger roll to go. And it'll stay Tennessee basketball. Jim Burr over there. He got a timeout, I believe.
No, I think he just got it wrong. What he did was he pointed in the wrong direction. John.
Gonzaga ball. But I'll tell you, Gonzaga may be tested today by the depth of Tennessee. Bruce Pearl has been substituting very liberally.
And that's a great point. You know, he says your 5 may be as good as my 5, but are your 10 as good as my 10?
Back to the loose ball, and it'll stay with Gonzaga. And Bruce Pearl wants over the back.
But I like this because Gonzaga, they need to know they're in a street fight. When you play Tennessee, you got to have all hands on deck. And I like the way Gonzaga has battled in the early going.
Good call by the official. The same team out of bounds.
Ira Brown.
Wow.
And the 3 is no good, and Brown fouls Brian Williams.
And you talk about Brian Williams being big, and Ira Brown was a tank right there and just ran him over.
Well, 2 of the elite coaches in college basketball meeting in this one. Mark Few, number 2. Bruce Pearl, number 3 in active winning percentage.
You know, as a former coach, I always tell Mark Few, you've got the best job in the country. He's got a great program. They can win their league every year. He loves this area. It's a familiar name.
Ronaldo Woolridge, the son of former NBA player Orlando Woolridge. Oh! Ira Brown throwing it down. as he just cut through the lane.
He didn't need a pitcher's mound either, John.
Absolutely not.
I was going to say, that's a new weapon, a tank that flies.
Ira back here at the Old Spice Classic. Good ball movement leads.
Fargo was saying one of the things that impresses him the most is Ira Brown's strength. He claims he can bench press 400 pounds. He also claims that he once laid on his back and that Ira Brown did 5 push-ups and Pargo
35.
And coming down that lane.
Woolridge missing that free throw. The freshman from North Hollywood. As Emmanuel Negadu checks in.
I love this guy. Negadu runs the floor. Hard-nosed guy. You know, I think early on Gonzaga has matched the intensity of Tennessee, you know, punch for punch. But the question is, as Lenny mentioned, he just comes after you. They come after you with 10 guys. So Negadu play. He signed at Arizona and was let out of his scholarship. But I saw him play when he played for Nigeria's _19 team a few years ago.
Gray underneath and the foul.
But even though they didn't get that bucket and Gray was able to recover, it sends a message, though. The next time you come through, you can bet that the drivers for Gonzaga are going to be looking for the shot blocker.
Oh, Bobby Mays handling. He's got the lightning quick freshman Dimitri Goodson on him. Woolridge off the mark, but the rebound, Negadu. And the kick out and hit by Cameron Tatum, who was huge in the semifinal win over Georgetown. 5 of 6 out of 3 in that game. Ira Brown has it knocked away. Negadu. And leads it ahead to Mays. Kick out Tatum. And Ira Brown pulls down the board.
Talk about being huge. Tatum 17 points. We're in 16 minutes. So he was instant offense.
Well, ACC Big Ten Challenge continues. Challenge on ESPN on Wednesday.
That North Carolina game will be at Ford Field, site of the 2009 Final Four.
And again, gritty game, but they were able to go and play as physical as they want to be, as the Tom Izzo team did play and took control of that game.
I get the feeling that Tom Izzo knows is to, you know, they didn't have Suton today, and Delvon Rowe is at 70% capacity. He probably have their chemistry down yet, trying to work so many guys in.
No, and one of the things I thought that they lacked at critical times was leadership with a need situation. Kalen Lucas, for all of his talents, a lot of times felt like he had to do it himself, and it took Travis Walton to kind of command the point a little bit, the senior, to settle things down. And ultimately, they wound up getting the ball into Morgan and others, and they took over in that game.
So long, they get their hands on so many passes.
And Bruce Pearl will tell you it's because they're communicating, particularly with the defense in front of his bench. They can help those guys out. That's why he worries about the quickness. They can get beat off the bounce, but if guys step up and help out and communicate, he feels a lot more confident with his defense.
Yeah, he was saying the other day he's especially concerned about the freshmen communicating on defense. Oh, brother, look at Tatum's sky for that rebound. Gonzaga by 2. Tyler Smith over to Mays. Bruce Pearl mentioning that he worries about the second half when the defense will be on the other end of the court and the coaching staff won't be able to help out communicating defensively. Prince with a follow but couldn't get it to go. And Bolden leading the Zags into the front court.
And that goes to your point, Fran, about toughness. You know, Gonzaga right now knocking down shots, but Tennessee's getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. And I think Gonzaga's going to have to start gutting it out under there and start limiting those second and third opportunities, because if they keep doing them, eventually they're going to fall.
Yeah, I agree, because Tennessee, you know, is going to go 10 deep the whole night, John. So it's like we saw out of Memphis in Puerto Rico. You know, pressure is cumulative, and Tennessee's pressure comes at you for 40 minutes.
Aggressive move to the rim by Tatum, couldn't finish. And a chance for the Zags to extend the lead. Bolden shot is short.
I think Bruce Pearl would love Gonzaga to take those shots.
Only if they're not making it.
Yeah.
Well, in that Georgetown game, it's a Georgetown team without a lot of depth. Bruce Pearl said he felt that they got a little worn down. Gonzaga's got more depth, so we'll see how that affects things as Jeremy Pargo is getting set to check back in. Gonzaga by 3.
Bobby Mays has been a huge lift for Tennessee. You look at the guards they lost. Juwan Smith, Lamar Smith, Chris Lofton. He comes out of Hutchinson Junior College, Duke All-American, and he's got a feistiness about him.
Yeah, he runs that team like he owns it. Think about this, 32 assists and only 5 turnovers in 134 minutes.
And a DC kid got away from Georgetown and Maryland.
Going to be Gonzaga basketball when we come back. Bruce Pearl, always animated, looking for career win number 400. Gonzaga by 3.
Next head coach, but the BCS is out and Alabama won. Oklahoma does jump Texas in the Oakland Raiders. Coach Lane Kiffin will become Tennessee's next head coach 2 days after Phil Fulmer's 17-season tenure with the Vols has ended. SportsCenter, 11 p.m.
All right, Ryan, thanks very much. Back here at the Old Spice Classic and look at the career of Philip Fulmer, head coach since '92, and of course a player there.
Carried them off the field last night, his players, after the win.
Won the national title a year after Peyton Manning left. Step in there, the lightning quick Bobby Mays to the goal.
Nice block. Oh, call it goaltending.
They'll call goaltending.
Yep. That's that new rule this year. If you block the ball against the board above the cylinder, this is an automatic now. Take a look at Micah Downs coming to your picture.
Yeah, I think that, again, it already hit the backboard. And it was in the cylinder. If it had not a chance to go in, there probably would not have been called goaltending, because then the attempt stops if it doesn't have a chance to go in.
I mentioned Bobby Mays before. He actually committed to Maryland, and Bruce Pearl told us they could not get him into Maryland academically. Finished up some academic issues, got to Tennessee, and they had the advantage. His junior college coach, Ryan Swanson, was a former Bruce Pearl assistant.
At the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Downs with a rebound. Micah Downs done good work on the boards in this tournament, including a big 17-point, 12-rebound game against Oklahoma State.
But his hustle in this game is certainly saving Gonzaga because of the turnovers. He's making sure that Tennessee does not convert. And there's Heitfeld. We talked about his size. He can hurt you inside, but he can certainly step outside. And at his size, it's hard to contest that jump shot.
Yeah, Downs should really end up being their best defender, particularly on the perimeter. Long arms.
Got the hops.
Yep.
Feed down low, left-handed scoop shot, Tyler Smith, and the former Iowa Hawkeye. You know, you had all these kids this year. Alex Stevenson trying to go from North Carolina to USC, or Herb Pope from New Mexico State to Seton Hall, trying to get the waiver not to sit out for a year after transferring. And Tyler Smith did that last year, going from Iowa to Tennessee to be with his ailing father, Billy, who died September of '07 from lung cancer.
And you remember, you go back to when Bruce Pearl took over at Tennessee, he had already committed and signed with the previous coach, Buzz Peterson. And Bruce Pearl would not let him move, wouldn't let him out of the scholarship, so there was some animosity early in that relationship, since been patched up.
You know, Tyler Smith calls Bruce Pearl a father figure, especially since his father passed away.
How about Scotty Hobson not starting today, coming off the bench? So you're Bruce Pearl, and you're able to bring guys like Tab and J.P. Prince, Hobson off the bench, Nagadu.
Well, Scotty Hobson is one of those guys you mentioned, legitimate prospect. You know, he's a scorer, and obviously Bruce Pearl thinks that he could be a pretty good defensive player, but he says he's such a nice kid that he wishes that he had a mean streak. He wishes he'd talk back in practice sometime. This is show that he's got a little bit of that fight in him. And I think this tournament has helped Hobson grow up.
Now, Bruce Pearl saying that about both Woolridge and Hobson. And
another deflection.
You know,
trying to get the two of them to play real hard. Go ahead.
You talk about Scotty Hobson, his ability to score, but they're just a nice bounce pass into Tyler Smith. You know, fundamentally sound, got in triple threat, and laid it into his teammate nicely. That they're going to be counting on for a couple years to come.
They were in a heck of a recruiting battle with him because he verbally committed to Mississippi State and Rick Stansbury, and didn't sign last November. Bruce Pearl jumped on him like a bulldog, and they wound up getting him signed in April.
Now Gonzaga's got to be careful right now. What Tennessee has done has made them a perimeter team. You know, really pressured the passer, not allowing him to get it inside, and even on the screens, the high screen, instead of stepping out and hedging, they're just getting in front of that picker and allowing the defender to stay with him, so there's no roll inside.
That's what I love about Tennessee. And I still think with the young players, they're probably about 60–70% of efficiency right now. But they're so long, you see a switch there, they're so long and athletic. They have guys that can guard 3 or 4 spots on the floor at any one time.
And that's exactly what happened on the switch. Dade doesn't get the elevation.
Tyler Smith and the foul. Smith with 6, and he goes to the line.
If you look at Tyler Smith, you ask yourself, is he a 4? Is he a 3? He's not a 2. He's just a basketball player. He does a lot. Now this is a hard move right here. He gets fouled. He's about 12 feet from the goal. Look at that soft touch.
Well, there is no doubt that he's a basketball player. And again, he does an awful lot for this team. Interestingly enough, though, you know, earlier in this tournament, he goes down in foul trouble and against Siena, and instead of the team kind of struggling, they ultimately build a huge lead, going an 18-0 run. So there's a lot of guys that step up for him, but make no mistake about his value to this team.
Prince whacked Downs in the eye.
Actually, this looks like it in his lip.
Actually, yeah, it did.
And there's Officer Heitfeld.
Patrolling the beat. That's a great point, Len. Micah Downs.
Oh, he got hit, all right, and officials didn't see it.
Micah Downs has got to play through that. When you play Tennessee, John, you know you're going to get this kind of attention defensively.
Tennessee on an 8-0 run. And an offensive foul. Pargo picks up his second as Prince. Oh, you had 2 different calls.
Now they can talk this over.
Well, that definitely was a block. I mean, there's no question about it.
Pargo and Prince on the double foul. And possession will stay with Gonzaga.
So they go to the possession now because of the double foul. See, the 2 officials, one calls the block underneath, Jim Bird, Doug Chow's the charge, and usually there's better eye contact there.
Good look, and they get the goaltend. Heitfeld.
One of the few with a straight feed, and Heitfeld with nobody around him as Tennessee scrambling defensively.
2-point game. 4.5 to go. The Old Spice Classic Championship game here in the first half. John Shambi, Fran Fraschillo, Len Elmore, and Andy Katz.
First time Zags, I remember going zone, and they caused a turnover.
Heitfeld hit the deck. Downs uses the ball fake. Hanging in the air, and he uses the glass. Micah Downs, who started his career at Kansas, has 4. And then travel, it'll go Gonzaga basketball.
Well, when you play Tennessee, you got to be ready for hand-to-hand combat for 40 minutes. You see right there, Heitfeld gets knocked down, gets back up like nothing happened. But then Micah Downs able to take it to the rim and finish. That's what Heitfeld was doing earlier, trying to just settle him down, but he did bounce back up.
Under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. And a heavyweight battle between Gonzaga and Tennessee. Heitfeld tries another 3. Can't hit that one. And Prince has it go off his leg. It'll be Gonzaga basketball when we come back all knotted up at 28 apiece.
Phil Fulmer carried off the field yesterday at Tennessee. They introduced their next head football coach on Monday. And a top 5 team gets knocked off.
Classic, we're tied at 28. Number 12, Tennessee. Number 10, Gonzaga. Guys, what are your impressions so far of this one?
I think Gonzaga has answered the bell. We were out in Seattle last year where Tennessee just throttled them and took it to them. But I like the way they've responded so far.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, though, on the turnover situation, some of them are unforced, and they've given extra opportunities to Gonzaga. But the depth of Tennessee is yet to be determined what impact that has. That's a long-run measurement.
Wayne Chisholm may feel a little naked right now because he just lost his headband. Looked back and said, okay, someone picked it up. Little zone again.
Tennessee shooting 42% here in the first half. Prince a 3.
So this is a good defense for Gonzaga right now because Hobson is a streak shooter, and the other 2 perimeter players really are not good shooters.
Against Ohio State, 9 Eastern, Duke and Purdue on Tuesday. Catch and shoot, Micah Downs, air ball.
Once again, Gonzaga falling in love with that perimeter shot, not really exploring inside out. And against this zone right here, that's for Tennessee. That would be their best bet. Start exploring inside out. They faced several zones in the last 2 days of this tournament. Handled them pretty easily.
Mays finds a cutting. Prince and the foul.
Good call, Lenny, right there. Anytime you play zone, teams play zone for 2 reasons. Either they don't think you can shoot it or they don't want to handle your size inside. And when you can get it into the heart of the defense like that, you're going to demoralize the defense. Take a look at this penetration by Bobby Mays right at the edge of the high paint. And then a nice flash by J.P. Prince.
Yeah, against this type of zone, anything in the short corner is going to force that zone to adjust. And if you don't adjust, that's the result.
They got Ira Brown on the foul. That is his 3rd. 9 team fouls on Gonzaga, 6 on Tennessee. And Prince with his first 2 points of the game. The Arizona transfer and Tayshaun's cousin.
Keep this in mind, guys. Dimitri Goodson back in, the freshman, as Pargo sits out. Tennessee is a spurt team. Let's see if they can turn the freshman over a little bit.
A lot of pressure. Downs calls timeout. Well, the Zags with all they can handle here against Tennessee. And with an off day for all teams, yes.
Boys on both of those rides and enjoyed them immensely.
Too fast for the kids. Too fast.
We had our Splashdown Mountain breakdown. You'll get wet if you sit in the front, not as wet if you sit in the back.
Here's the beauty of Matt Bolden now. You got the freshman point guard in there, but Matt Bolden really can operate as a second ball handler.
He had Mays draped all over him.
But again, the pressure on the wings. Look how far out that offense has started.
Yeah, this is a spurt zone right now for Tennessee with the young guard.
Goodson gets bumped on the baseline. Nope, stepped on the baseline. Turnover. And it's Tennessee basketball. That's 10 turnovers on the Zags.
Court geography. You're a freshman point guard. You got to understand court geography. That's a great stat, Lenny.
Well, again, the last possession down here was Gonzaga trying to get the ball out of bounds, and they had to call timeout. And Bruce Pearl recognizes tactically that pays dividends late in games and close game situations.
Mays trying to find Chisholm. Bolden.
For the battle in Seattle. I don't know if you remember, Tennessee spent about an hour, Len, on defending Gonzaga's inbounds plays. They put a lot of time into that, and I think you can tell that it pays dividends.
Well, in particularly open floor live ball turnovers.
Bruce Pearl's team so good at taking the defense, turning it into offense.
That's their version of special teams. You see that zone now. If you can work somebody in the middle or that short corner like Lenny talked about.
Tyler Smith gets hit. Couldn't convert. Fight for the loose ball. Stephen Gray comes away with it. Downs and the flush. Micah Downs right through the lane. 6 for the senior.
Well, give Josh Heidfeld credit for that because he went right to the low block and cleared out a Tennessee defender. And Micah Downs had the equivalent of Interstate 4 right outside Disney's parks here. It's a maneuver.
4th lead change here in the first half. It has been a good one. Gonzaga leading by a point. 9 on the shot clock. Chisholm on Heidfeld. Bolden rips it away. Gray, a 3. Got it.
Well, it's Gonzaga that's going on the spurt. Couple of turnovers, conversions.
Well, this is the kind of toughness we talked about Gonzaga would need against the feisty Vols, and they've shown it.
Clock winding down. Mays into the lane, had it slip out of his hand. Heidfeld the board, and the Zags use a 7-0 run to end the first half. Mark Few's team leading by 4. And some words at the end of the first half. Bruce Pearl separating his troops from the Zags.
You know what, John? This is you don't want to see anybody swinging, but this is the kind of feistiness Gonzaga needs because Tennessee makes every game a street fight because of their scrappiness.
No, there's no question. Last year, it was Gonzaga falling 82-72 out in Seattle, and the Vols really took the fight to the Zags out there at Key Arena. Andy Katz standing by with Mark Few.
Yeah, definitely some words between the two teams. Mark, what kind of explanations did you get from the officials just there?
This guys walking by each other and exaggerated circumstances, no big deal.
Well, let's talk about the toughness there. How tough have your guys been in terms of combating right at Tennessee?
Well, I mean, Tennessee brings a lot of adversity at you. They put you in a lot of strange circumstances, what you're not used to with the ball and pressuring you. Thought for the most part we handled that. We got through a lot of foul trouble. We didn't get to play Austin much that half and had Jeremy in foul trouble. But I thought our guys held up. I thought Meach came in, gave us some minutes. Ira gave us some good minutes. And then it's nice to see Steven and Matt show some leadership there at the end.
All right, thanks, Mark. Good luck in the second half. And I tell you guys, Meach was definitely in there trying to add some of that toughness, and they got in the words there with Bobby Nays and Wayne Chisholm.
Well, they've gotten help from all over. Steve Studio, Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report, and Ryan Burr.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome into the Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report. 35-31 at the half. Ryan Burr, the coach Tom Brennan, and Doug Gottlieb. And guys, that was a heavyweight fight before the skirmish at the end of the half. Two really good basketball teams. It's a 4-point game at the half. Your thoughts?
Well, I think, speaking of the skirmish, Tennessee kind of brings that out in you. And the thing I love about the Volunteers is they're going to play the same way every single night. What they're able to do is impose their will on you. They play how they're going to play, and they make people adjust to them. They do it consistently, night in and night out.
Yeah, but I saw a little bit of fake toughness, a little bit of fake hustle from Tennessee, whereas Wayne Chisholm just gets thrown out of the way, and Micah Downs gets that open dunk, and then Bobby Mays drives in, and Matt Bolden takes the ball from him. You know, the toughest thing to do, TB knows this because he's a comedian, is to close, and clearly Tennessee had trouble closing.
One of you guys made a great point, though, that with Tennessee, you never know when they're 6 up or 6 down. It can happen so quick, so we will see.
That was me.
It was you. Congratulations. We'll see more in the second half. From Tennessee basketball to Tennessee football, a major announcement coming tomorrow in Knoxville as former Oakland Raiders coach Lane Kiffin will become Tennessee's next coach 2 days after Phil Fulmer's 17-season tenure with the Vols has ended. Staying with college football, last in the second half, back to Orlando. It's a 4-point game right now. Tennessee and Gonzaga back with an exciting second half after this.
It's the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. And at the break, Gonzaga, number 10 in the land, leading Tennessee 35-31. John Shelby alongside Fran Fraschilla and Len Elmore. We talked about toughness, and well, Len, this has been every bit the battle we talked about.
Well, it certainly has. And again, during that 7-0 run to end the first half, Gonzaga exhibiting that toughness, utilizing some muscle and some strong defense to get the job done. You take a look.
Play, Len. Watch Matt Bolden just rip this ball out of
Tennessee ball to start the second half.
Looks like Zags are going to, no, they're going to stay in that zone again. It was effective down the stretch of that first half.
See if Tennessee can get Tyler Smith going. 7 points in the first half, couple of rebounds.
Well, this is a good decision by Mark Few. You got to figure out whether or not Tennessee has adjusted to that zone. If they have, you go back to your man. But the zone's been good to the Zags.
And right there, Ronaldo Woolridge with a three. He's got 6.
One thing about these Tennessee freshmen, Woolridge, Hobson, Tatum's a redshirt freshman. They play with great confidence.
Bruce Pearl's team now 4 out of 12 from beyond the arc. He voted against the three-point line. Did not like to see it move back.
Well, the reason he didn't, he thought it would have an impact, adverse impact on mid-majors who rely on it. But again, you look at VMI with 14. You look at Jimmy Barron from Rhode Island, dropped 8 three-pointers against Duke. I think the mid-majors are not only surviving, but doing very well with the three-point line because the shooters will shoot it, the pretenders won't.
And the problem is some of those pretenders in the early going line are shooting it. And three-point shooting percentages are down to under 34%. But you're right. Coaches are going to have to be really diligent about shot selection on the part of some of those guys who aren't great shooters.
Saw an interesting game the other night. BCS team State beat Auburn going 0 for 24 from 3. They get Day on the foul. That's his 3rd. That's a biggie.
Usually when you can make a pass into the post from high-low, it means there's no ball pressure at the top of the key, and they just threw it right over the top of Austin Day, and he only weighs a little bit over 200 pounds.
So you take a look at the stats again. Gonzaga has this lead primarily because of the three-point shooting, 6 of 13. The thing that's keeping Tennessee in the ball game has been their offensive rebounding. 21 total rebounds, 9 on the offensive variety, and they've gotten a couple of extra chances.
A 1-point game here at the Old Spice Classic. Our championship coming up at the end of our game, the championship of the 76 Classic. It'll be Wake Forest and Baylor. Heitfeld for 3. He hits another. He's already got 1, and now 8 points overall for the big guy.
What I like about Gonzaga so far is they have taken Tennessee out of their spurts and runs by making shots.
And when you're that size, 6'11", you got that kind of touch, it's hard to contest it.
Let's go to Andy Katz.
Well, I'm talking to Tennessee head coach Bruce Pearl coming out of the locker room. He says he was a little disappointed in their offensive execution. Also thought that they definitely could have pressured the ball more. He thought it was much more effective earlier in the first half. And then Cameron Tatum was trying to rally his guys, saying, hey, look, we're not playing well. We're only down 4. We got this one.
We will see. But a good one here in Lake Buena Vista. Tyler Smith puts it on the floor and uses the window. Smith with 9.
It's rare that you give up that kind of penetration versus the zone. Ira Brown giving up the baseline.
Bolden wide open and hits.
Well, there's that three-point shot that, as I said, Bruce Pearl likes it when they don't make them, but they've been making them with regularity.
Air ball, rebound ripped down by Smith. And 11 for the junior from Pulaski, Tennessee.
Rennie's forecasted this pretty well. It's been three-point shooting versus offensive rebounding.
Downs is fouled and he'll go to the line.
Zone, and he's still able to get baseline on Ira Brown. There's no rotation over because Wayne Chisholm walls off Josh Heitfeld.
Well, Ira Brown has to give up at some point. He's got 3 fouls, doesn't want to pick up his 4th. So
he was a little bothered to see all these guys applying for the NBA draft, guys that he thought he was better than. Well, Bruce Pearl kept telling him he wasn't ready, and one weekend Pearl brought him into the gym and worked him out. Tyler Smith said it was the worst weekend ever. He put him through a shooting drill where he'd come down, he'd shoot, have to run down, touch the baseline, and then come back down and shoot again. He'd have to make 3 in a row, and Tyler Smith said he was showing me I wasn't ready. It wasn't getting through to me, him just talking. And I'm sure Bruce Pearl very happy to have him back.
Well, that kind of sounds like the Richard Hamilton drill, the one that he uses for not only shooting, but also for endurance and stamina.
I'm actually surprised there's a college player out there averaging over 15 points a game that
I'm not really sure why Brown as opposed to Prince there. But for Ira Brown, that is number 4. Day already has 3.
Yeah, that was a tough call on Ira Brown. He had every right to go after that ball.
Nice laner, J.P. Prince, and 5 for Prince.
J.P. Prince may be the best 6th man in college basketball right now. Danny Green is starting for North Carolina, but hard to come up with a guy that gives you so much energy off the bench.
Smith goes for the steal, and the kick out to Heitfeld, who buries it. 10 for Josh Heitfeld. And good hands there. Chisholm tried to save it off a Gonzaga player. Pargo collects. And they get him for the carry.
Well, he's saying he dropped it, but once you put that ball on your hip, your dribble becomes no longer in use. But watch the window here.
Well, that's good delivery off the gamble. And once the gamble was made, Chisholm had to step up and help, and that left Heitfeld wide open. So Tennessee has got to be judicious in their risk, because obviously Gonzaga can make you pay off the perimeter.
Mays wandering in amongst the trees, knocked out of bounds. And we come back. Vols trailing by 5. Don't call it a comeback. Heitfeld's been good for years. Mama said knock you out. Gonzaga by 5. Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week.
Schools have come after him. I'm sure Arizona will have him on a short list. Jimmy V used to say, don't mess with Happy, and he's got a great situation right now.
Prince on the offensive glass, tips it home, and JP with 7.
And if you're going to neutralize the three-point shot, that's what you have to do. You got to get on the offensive glass when you're not putting it in the basket.
Oh my goodness. Pargo from way deep. And the rebound to Tennessee. The Vols trailing by 3.
Tennessee, you never, ever can relax because they can score in spurts so quickly. And so far, Gonzaga has answered any mini runs by the Vols.
Hobson feeds Tyler Smith, working against the smaller Pargo, and a travel. And Bruce Pearl wants some pressure here. You know Tennessee can be active making those runs, and right now they are down 3. There's Bruce Pearl, and what a job he's done as the head man of the Volunteers.
I remember when he was an assistant for Dr. Tom Davis at Iowa.
A lot of success at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I think that's where he made his reputation, in the Division I level.
That last foul on Bobby Mays, his 3rd. Each team with a couple of fouls. Nice move. Pargo navigating in the lane, and he has 4.
Minus that long NBA 3, I've been impressed with the way Jeremy Pargo looking more for his teammates.
Soft touch, Scotty Hobson.
It's one of those games where you feel like Gonzaga's up 10, and you look at the scoreboard, you only have 3.
On the baseline. Oh, Pargo! The point goes for the senior from Chicago. Pargo a steal. He's got Gray with him. And the two-handed flush Gonzaga by 7. Bruce Pearl wants timeout.
Well, Tyler Hansbrough did not play against UNC Asheville today, and a North Carolina spokesperson emailing me this afternoon telling me that his right shin injury, the stress reaction, stiffened up on the long flight back to Maui, and North Carolina head coach Roy Williams will make a decision after Wednesday's shoot-around at Detroit's Ford Field whether or not he will play against the Spartans. Meanwhile, Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo said he doesn't know if Goran Suton will be ready to play against the Tar Heels either. He did not play in any of the 3 games here in Orlando.
Hobson, nice move. The freshman spinning and hitting. 10 for Scotty Hobson.
Comes a little bit of pressure off the made field goal.
Gonzaga by 5. Fargo into the lane. Goes to the left hand and banks it off the glass. 8 for Fargo. What a move.
We saw this last year from Jeremy Pargo. He has it leaning.
They got J.P. Prince on a foul. That is number 2 on Prince.
Scotty Hobson right there. I think he might have had a couple pivot feet, but very athletic.
It's hard to imagine they have not had a McDonald's All-American since the 90s. He's the first.
I don't know if did they have McDonald's All-Americans when you played, Lynn? No, I mean,
did they have McDonald's when I played?
Well, yeah. Well, I know, because I know Bernie and Ernie would have been McDonald's All-Americans.
Bernard King and Ernie Grunfeld. Fargo putting it on the floor, pulling up, and Downs fighting for the rebound. Saved nicely over there on the side by Tyler Smith. And Prince finds Smith. Leaning, and he's fouled. Micah Downs charged with that one, his first.
We talk about Tyler Smith doing so many things for his team. Puts his body on the line to save that. Possessions have been so critical in this game because of the spurts.
Our Star Watch update, Smith and Heitfeld both controlling the game. They were up by 8. The Hoyas were up by 8, and Tennessee finished on a 35-15 run. 35-15.
That speaks to the depth. You know, as Bruce Pearl says, your 5 may be better than our 5, but are your 10 better than our 10?
You see the step out by Brian Williams. Good help.
Sacre down low, the 7-footer. Gets fouled. Zags by 5.
Missed 20 seconds of game time, but he's gotten about 4 minutes of rest so far. So let's see how long Bruce Pearl keeps him out, but a smart move on his part.
Gonzaga, and he has 3 fouls, only 3 points for Austin Day. In fact, first 3 points of the game.
What?
Sacre contests.
What was that? I mean, that was a throw up by Hobson. He just didn't even have his feet under him or anything, just trying to get it up on the glass. And time and score situation, not the kind of thing you expect.
To make Bruce Pearl throw up.
Day spinning. How about that move? But it's an air ball. And the little fella down low, Dimitri Goodson, follows. Wow.
Well, they love this guy because he brings you that Houston intensity. Very quick. His brother, football player, running back at Texas A&M, Mike Goodson.
Dimitri from right outside Houston in Spring, Texas.
You can put 2 athletic guards out there now if you're Mark Few and Goodson and Fargo.
Gray deflects, shot clock winding down. Hobson from deep. Off the rim, tracked down by Prince.
I love this guy.
Into the lane, and he's fouled.
Huge offensive rebound because, again, on that possession, if Gonzaga goes down the other way, they're going to have an opportunity to go up by 9 or 10.
Look at the second half field goal shooting. Teams combined 16 out of 24.
And you know what you love about that rebound, too? There's like 3, 2, 1 on the shot clock. All 9 other players should be really alert. You know the ball's going to usually come off to the other side of the floor. Prince chases it down.
And it's one of those range rebounds that is so important. You can't get everyone above the rim.
That last foul was on Jeremy Pargo. That's his third. So Pargo and Day with 3, Brown with 4 for Gonzaga, and Mays the only volunteer with 3. Prince hitting the first and the second, and well, no bigger free throws than the ones he made.
Run by Tennessee.
Out of 18 turnovers, by the way, on Tennessee. And yet still they're within 7.
And here's where defense obviously plays a huge role in this game of basketball. Not always does your offense click. Not always can you knock down shots. But if you can consistently string together some stops, helps get you back in the ball game.
Gray pulls up and hits. Stephen Gray, 17 for the sophomore.
And he's out of that slump that he started the season with, 3 for 18 behind the arc.
And obviously, conversely, if you can't string together some stops, you're going to get run out of the gym.
Stephen Gray, one of the better shooters in the country, 4 for 6 from 3 in this game. As Fran mentioned, started the year 3 for 18. And they get Heitfeld with
Adam Morrison, Dan Dickow.
Under 10 to go in this one. Largest lead of the game for Gonzaga. Bulldogs by 10. Tyler Smith to inbound. And finds Chisholm. Chisholm's been kept pretty quiet. He's got 5. Has it blocked so far.
You know, I have to tell you, I'm surprised by the fact that Gonzaga has weathered every single blow physically, and just in terms of the way they've competed tonight.
Well, I'm not surprised at all at the size of Gonzaga bothering Tennessee. And you saw it on those last 2 plays. Wayne Chisholm, a guy that Tennessee relies upon, not able to get.
When they win those games, and certainly when they've gone undefeated before in the conference.
And they were 13-1 last year, Andy. But I have to tell you, you got this kind of talent, you have this kind of national program. That's why I think Mark Few has a great job, because they're going to win the WCC most years.
Out of bounds. And
Goodson probably, when he got both feet in and established himself, could have grabbed that ball if he wanted to.
As long as you fall out of bounds, not on purpose, you can come back in and pick it up.
Rebound pulled down by Cameron Tatum, who's been quiet in this game. Mays a pull-up. Uses the glass, and it's good. Bobby Mays with 6. And a timeout called by Tennessee. And here's Tennessee non-conference.
Because Tennessee also has to go through the SEC. I think the SEC, in my opinion, is down a little bit this year, but certainly that is a rough schedule.
Well, Disney's Wide World of Sports here in Florida, home to.
Well, how about the crowds this year, John? The Tennessee faithful, Michigan State.
Len, you did that Tennessee-Georgetown game. I mean, that had an NCAA tournament atmosphere type of feel to it.
Absolutely did. And again, the intensity, I guess it's a lot to do with pride as much as anything else. 2 very good programs going up against each other, and they were playing for pride, no question.
They get Chisholm on the foul. That's his 2nd.
You always like out of a timeout what the coach sets up, and there's a nice little back cut. Bolden on the freshman. Bruce Pearl's been trying to get Woolwich to get out and deny all preseasons.
John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Len Elmore, Andy Katz. The Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's here at the Disney Wide World of Sports Complex in Lake Buena Vista.
Where the 2-3 zone has taken a lot of Tennessee's offensive movement out of play. And that's a long back line when you look at Austin Day and Heitfeld, Len.
Yeah, that's really deterring Tennessee, not allowing them to get the ball down low where they would like, and certainly it's shoring up the offensive rebounding.
Well, more good stuff coming up It's been a magical week at Disney. The Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Number 10 Gonzaga leading number 12 Tennessee 66-54. And we'll see if Bruce Pearl's team has a run left in him. The freshman Ronaldo Woolridge so far in this game with 6 points. And Tennessee basketball with 7:37 to go.
They've taken away a lot of their inbound stuff tonight by going 2-3 zone under.
Chisholm long on the three. Pargo looking to run. Hesitation, kick out. Bolden hits. Good movement by Pargo.
What do you think of Pargo tonight, Len?
I think Pargo's picked his spots. And again, as a senior, understands how this game is played. He's let the game come to him. He's gotten others involved, just what a consummate point guard would do.
8.7 assists for Jeremy Pargo.
Boy, Tennessee, in order to get back in this game, it's obvious they have to score, but in order to score and set up their defense. You know, they haven't been able to set up their full court defense, their traps, or any of the things that help them come from behind against Georgetown, because they haven't been able to put the ball in the basket.
Last year, John, when we were in Seattle, we saw Josh Heitfeld play his second game of the year. Completely different complexion for Gonzaga this year with him healthy.
Yeah, 14 points, and he has stepped out and knocked down some jumpers in this one. Stephen Gray has been big for Gonzaga. 17 points, including 4 3-pointers.
And Bruce Pearl has gone to his bench, hoping to give his frontline guys a little bit of a breather. Hope the guys in, like Brian Williams, like Scotty Hobson, and J.P. Prince, are going to give them a bit of a lift to start something here offensively.
Smith and Hobson, the only 2 balls in double figures in scoring. Fight for the loose ball. Pargo. Mays comes down with it. Mays to the rim. Williams trying to follow. Williams does follow. Brian Williams with 4 points.
And that's his strength right there, the offensive glass. We talked about a significant percentage of his rebounds are of the offensive variety. And in order to be able to get back and set up defenses, they're going to have to be able to score first.
Day will try a 3 and hit.
How many weapons do these guys have?
And a travel. 14 turnovers on Mark Few's team, but they have just shot the lights out. 55% overall, including 58% from 3.
Right now, Gonzaga's 8 or 9 is better than Tennessee's 10.
Hobson drills a 3, 13 for the freshman.
Boy, the net almost didn't move. That was so pure. High arcing jump shot. Scotty Hobson is definitely a force to be reckoned with as a freshman and beyond.
Bolden used a little head fake there. Prince is fouled and one. J.P. Prince will go to the line, and he's got a chance to make this an 11-point game. He was disappointing in that tournament.
They were, but we'll see him Thursday night. You know, the freshman DeRozan and Taj Gibson, obviously very talented.
Yeah, from a freshman standpoint, watching Memphis with Tariq Evans, watching DeRozan, those guys need to learn how to play first before they think about going anywhere. They need to understand how this game is played, how to utilize their talent, their considerable talent.
Oh, you could feel the defensive pressure stepped up by Tennessee. Rebound pulled down by Williams, and a chance to get it in single digits. 9 rebounds for Williams. Tab finds Prince.
Tell you what, Prince is telling Williams, you got to move, and he's right. Williams' hands have to be ready on the penetration.
Jump ball, Gonzaga basketball with the possession arrow.
Not any outside shooting and any leadership out there.
But I tell you what, on that last play, I mean, you don't need it when they get penetration. If Brian Williams' hands are ready and he moves to the open spot, which is what Prince anticipated, that's a basket. And watch the drive. Williams kind of stays behind his man instead of moving to the spot where he can be available.
Day finds Heitfeld.
See, I would use a little clock right now. See, now you've got 3 shooters out there, so you can stretch that defense a little bit.
Heitfeld pulls down the rebound, and
his instant offense is tremendous from beyond the arc. 17 points in 16 minutes, and right now Tennessee needs offense.
Well, and especially when against that zone where you can at least play inside out.
Pargo has it blocked.
Oh, no, that's intentional.
That's got to be, and the bucket.
Oh, no. First of all, it started with Pargo shooting the ball way early in the shot clock. And then Austin Day, that's just a young player's mistake right here. That's an easy call.
And you know he's trying to get the ball, but he just can't get there. He reaches out, and then he grabs him around the waist.
Let's just start with this, though. When you're looking at a spot up by double figures and Tyler Smith is ahead of you, don't you just let him go?
Well, absolutely, but it started, the clock is your friend when you're...
You got to move your feet. You got to get out there and bust it. If you can't get there, you got to let him go, because if you do anything from behind except try to block the shot, and even if you block the shot and you hit the guy in the head, as we saw in the Maryland-Georgetown game, they're going to call it intentional.
Yeah, this is the easiest call of the night. He shot that ball with about 23 on the clock.
And see, Day didn't get the angle. He should have probably ran a little bit harder, a little bit faster to get enough of an angle where he's at least even or in front of the ball handler, so that when he reaches for the ball, they can see clearly that he's making a play on the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, a 3 right here would be a dagger.
Williams up and under, a 2 will do, and it's an 8-point game. And
clock.
Mays, Tatum.
There he is. There we go, Len.
Timeout called by Bruce Pearl. There's your guy, Len.
I think after that shot, Bruce Pearl says, maybe I should have done this a minute and a half ago.
Well, there were a few possessions down the stretch where they didn't have an outside shooter out there. But this is a nice dribble drive and drift by Bobby Mays to Cameron Tatum in a deep corner.
Well, Tatum is playing with such confidence. He's just flowing. No hesitation on that shot.
And if you're just thinking ahead, guys, Pargo is a 60% shooter on the year. Heitfeld coming into tonight, 8 of 15. Bolden, 500.
Well, here at the Old Spice Classic, our championship game, number 10 Gonzaga, number 12 Tennessee from the Milk House. John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Len Elmore, and Andy Katz. Thanks for joining us. And the pressure by Tennessee.
Uh-oh.
Leak out ahead, Downs.
Got fouled.
Got the ball.
And they say got the ball. Tennessee the other way, down by 6.
If you're Matt Bolden, why do you even need to score on that? Excuse me, Micah Downs.
Mays. Fight for the loose ball. Williams has it. Can't finish. Mays can't finish. Williams has it go out of bounds. Gonzaga basketball.
Well, you love the competitiveness. Let's see right here. Looked like he got a little arm. Hard to tell.
Well, a 6-point game. John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Len Elmore, and we've had ourselves a good one. You know, Tennessee 35-15 run to beat Georgetown the other day in the semifinals. You knew they had one more run in them, and they've stepped up the defense and translated into offense.
Well, they have. I like Gonzaga's toughness over the first 39 minutes. Some decision-making maybe down the stretch I'm not crazy about, but I do think the Zags have battled and have put on a pretty good performance.
Oh, they certainly did, and you saw in that last possession there, just being able to battle the big, strong guys for Tennessee, keep the ball alive until somebody can swat it away. Obviously, Brian Williams loses the handle, but they didn't back down.
Guys, we've mentioned it a couple of times tonight, but there will be a rematch in January in Knoxville. So these games are absolutely great for Gonzaga if they're going to be considered a team that can win the whole thing.
January 7th, Thompson Bowling Arena. Tatum, three is no good. Williams the rebound. Kick out. Hobson, no good with that one. Kick out.